The district encourages all teachers to consider using Aeries Communications to communicate with parents and guardians of all students. There are many great reasons to use Aeries Communications. First, it's already set up for you. There's no entering of emails or phone numbers or any other data that you might not be familiar with right away. It's already set up based on the information for every student in the Aeries Student Information System. Because the Aeries Student Information System also knows the home language of families, messages arrive to the family's email and phone in their home language. And there is always a record of every direct and private message or announcement that you make with every student in the Aeries Communications system. Let me show you. My page may look a tiny bit different than yours, but in this left column, if I have pages chosen, which is the default, I can tap on Communications, and it will open up the Aeries Communications application. When it opens, it will be on my landing page. It will know who it is, and it will have a list on the left side of all my groups. Now, my groups are the district and some private groups, but your group will look, or I'm sorry, your column rather, will look something more like this. This is a teacher, and so she has a group for her school and a group for each of her classes based on the Aeries roster. But whether you have classes or groups on this side, everything else is basically the same. First of all, we're in the announcement feed, which is the home page, and this icon there indicates that we're on this page. If I choose a group, for example, Tech Training Specialists, and I want to know more about this group or class, I can tap on the I up here in the upper right-hand corner, and that I indicates that I'll see information about that group over here. I show you this so that you can check to make sure that the members are students in your class and that you are the owner. I know we all like to double check everything, and so there you are. If I want to send a message to this group or class, I simply tap on the plus sign in the upper right-hand corner, and I get this nice big page where I can type my announcement right here, and I can see how many people it's going to go to. If I want to narrow this group, I can tap on that number and it will allow me to choose a subset of that number based on various criteria. In addition, I can add an attachment, and the next page, as you can see, is going to allow me to customize. Right now, this announcement is going to go to both students and their guardians. If my children are too young to get emails, they will not get this message. I can instead choose just guardians or just students. I may also decide that I would like to send this in all channels, which is what I typically choose. However, some folks might prefer just to send voice calls or just to send emails. Just so you know, SMS text messages on a smartphone must be opted in by the parents or students. So make sure that the SMS texts is not the only one that you have, or some people will not receive your message. I'm going to tap on next, but before I do, just really quickly, if you don't like the robot voice, it's not a bad one actually. You can customize that voice. I can also choose to customize my emails, and I can also choose to customize what goes into the text. So I can modify the message slightly for each of the notification groups. All right, next. This summary page is great. I love this page because it tells me that 4 out of 4 of my people should be getting this message in their feed, which is this, in their email, and 2 will be getting a text, 2 will be getting it as a voice call. If I scroll down, I can see more detail on that here. But my favorite part is over here where it says what language these messages are going to arrive in. I may schedule this message at a day and time. I may choose repeat, which means I can send it every Tuesday morning, every Friday morning to remind students or parents about a Google Meet, for example. And once I have done that, I can simply tap send. Now, many people ask, how do we know if students have seen their message? And I can show you right here on the back in the feed for the different groups. You'll notice a little eyeball. When you see that eyeball, simply tap on it, and that'll show you which people saw the message and which ones did not. One last thing. These are all announcements to whole groups or whole classes. But if I go up here to the speech bubble, this will allow me to send direct messages to smaller groups. I have existing conversations right here, so I may continue one, or I can create a new message. By entering the name of the student, Aries will search through every student in Chino Valley Unified, but it'll grow to know me, so it will look at more closely at the students that I have a relationship with. When I send these messages, they are direct messages and they may be considered more private. Again, I love that they are curated forever so that we don't have to dig through a bunch of Outlook accounts or Remind or Dojo or whatever different ways we've been doing it. This is all securely stored inside the Aries system. So we all hope that you consider using Aries Communications. Briefly, I'd also like to address attendance since we're already in Aries. As an elementary teacher, you will be doing synchronous teaching every single day. So you will see faces that belong to your class every single day, Monday through Friday. You're going to be taking attendance in one of a few different ways. We're going to make a couple of suggestions. The process of actually marking attendance hasn't really changed though. So here I am in a Google Meet, and you can see that my voice is making the little throbbing gesture there. From here, where you are conducting synchronous lessons, I would wait until about 5 minutes into your meeting time so that everyone has arrived. And there are a couple of suggestions. One would be simply to tap on the little Mr. Head and Shoulders up here where it says Show Everyone, and you get a list of student names here, and you can scroll through that list. And as you scroll through that list, you may either take screenshots, which means that you can use the keyboard shortcut Shift window key S to take a shot, save it, and then take another shot with the same keyboard shortcut. Or if you prefer, you could choose to record briefly and then check on attendance later. To record during your meeting, I'm sure you probably already know this, but to record during a Google Meet, you tap on the little ellipses right here. Let me close this. Tap on the ellipses in the lowest right-hand corner and tap on Record Meeting. Now at this time it says accept or decline. It is courteous to let anybody who's on the call know that they're being recorded. We're not recording this to repost it publicly, so you may record for the purposes of attendance by clicking accept. You may have to approve the use of your camera and microphone the very first time, and then you may either go back to Mr. Head and Shoulders and scroll through those names so that you have a record of that being recorded, or you may change your view if you have a small group so that you can see every single member of your group right here. Now remember, you're only going to see 16 faces right here until we get our Google update, so that may or may not be what you wish. The last thing you could do, either while you're recording or not recording, but simply by noting on a piece of paper, is you can do a good old-fashioned roll call. And as students speak, they are moved to the front of the 16-person view. You see that they need to, you will observe that they need to unmute themselves in order to say here or present. And for the younger kids, that might be a little bit much because we want them to turn off their microphone immediately after. Of course, that might be a great way to practice turning off and turning on the microphone. So you decide, those are just a few options. If you decide to use the Meet recording for a way to take attendance, then I need to tell you where to find that recording after it's finished. And that would be up here in your Google Drive. If you tap on that, it goes into your district Google Drive where you see your initial and you see our district logo. And then look for the folder called Meet Recordings right here. Meet Recordings are those that are made during Google Meets. They're typically arranged chronologically with the most recent at the top, And I'll warn you right now, they do take a bit of time to render. So unless you intend to reuse for your own purposes, long recordings, I don't recommend long recordings in Google Meet. So simply for attendance purposes, though, they'll land right up here at the top. I know you have more questions about recording. I'll answer those at another time. And just remember, once you have your data, once you have picked it up from a recording, or you took a roll call, or you took screenshots, whatever you do, don't forget to come back in here to your Aries Student Information System and post your attendance for your students the same way you have in the past. Thank you very much.